Hi everybody, and this is Propasal Sports Talk here. It is May 13th, and right now, news around the MLB, it looks like they're trying hard to push for a new season, which do I think will happen? I don't know yet, but they're trying very hard. And also in other news, testing. They're talking about testing protocols, which again, how does that work? I don't know yet. Ken Rosenthal reported that this morning of potential testing. So I'm going to read off some notable things from an article written by Jeff Passion that was written 2 days ago, kind of about what the season might look like. Since again, I think we're as close as we've been, and also in addition to that, we seem like we have a plan. Since things started all the way back early April. Oh, we're going to play the whole season in Arizona, then Arizona, Florida, this and that. The Grapefruit and Cactus League, and then the three-state league, Texas, Arizona, Florida, and then it's, oh, do you have the NL and AL this year? I don't think so. So here's what it's going to look like right now. And here's a big thing right now. So first off the bat, 82-game season. So if an 82-game season, it's a half of a season. So that's what the NBA and NHL does. So in half a season, things are obviously very different. Think about the 19 and 31 Nationals. At that point in time, you don't have enough time to recover. Instead of being about a third of the way through, you're more than halfway through. But to compensate for that 82-game season, the playoff will expand from 10 to 14 now. About 3 months ago, I talked about playoff expansion, of how in 2022, the next CBA, there will be 14 teams total. That's 7 per league, as opposed to 10, 5 per league. So is it very possible that 2021 is the last year of the true one-game playoff wild card, where it's 4 versus 5, where you have that Braves Cardinals, and obviously you had Orioles Rangers, not to mention the thrilling Royals versus A's game in 2014, and Madison Bumgarner complete game shutout. Both of those teams met in the World Series. The Giants won. Not to mention 2019, where the Nats won their wild card game against the Brewers that come from behind and went on to win the World Series. So again, things like that you won't see anymore, and you won't see that this year with the added playoffs. So again, it will be easier for teams to make it to the playoffs this year. So again, you have teams that might not belong in the playoffs that are in the playoffs. You might have teams that are supposed to be good that were off to a slow start that maybe couldn't turn on. Like you think about the 2017 Cubs, who used the second half to turn it on, or teams like that. That's just an example. Potential teams that might have ended up missing the playoffs, or you can go on and on. But yes, this is an extra playoff format. There will be more teams in the playoffs now than say what there were last year. And do I agree with this? Yes, I do. I think it is fair to have more teams in the playoffs this year. Since again, it may not be fair to the team, since again you only had half a season to prove yourself. But again, 82 games is the option, and that seems about right. Another thing to keep in mind, the use of home stadiums in areas that have local and state government approval. Okay, so again, we used to talk about being isolated in Arizona. Then we talked about Florida. So now you talk about home stadiums. How safe is New York City right now? In fact, I was reading about Los Angeles. Los Angeles may be shut down for the summer months, and now California may close their colleges. That's for a whole other discussion. So that means Dodgers and Angels, forget about it. Not to mention the A's and Giants and the Padres as well. So these are home stadiums in areas that have local. Again, what about New York City? New York City seems like, Queens. Do you really want to be playing baseball games in Queens and the Bronx this summer? No, you probably don't want to be. Not to mention New Jersey, that's close by. Think about the Phillies, close to New Jersey. Think about the Nationals. Think about the Northeast. And then Georgia seems to be hardly affected. Think about Texas. So who is approved, who is not, I don't know. That is hard to say. I don't know who's approved and who's not. I wish I wasn't talking about this right now, but it would have been nice if we were 7 weeks into this new season, and this was a normal baseball season. I was talking about how great Max Scherzer is, or whatever. I wish it was Caps Bruins right now in the conference finals, but it's not. So this is kind of the topic of discussion right now. So you can go all around the United States and talk about what is safe and what is not safe. And at this point in time, you don't know that right now. Since here we are, 2 months later. Since initially MLB said 2-week delay. Well, that 2-week delay, that would have ended 5 weeks ago. Precautionary. We might have to play without fans early in the season. That's what it looked like at first. Here we are 2 months later, and we still don't know what's going to happen. So we talked about those type of things now. So universal designated hitter. With the designated hitter, I agree with that. I think the league should do that starting in 2022. There should be a DHs again. I was just watching a condensed game. I'm doing 2010 playoffs right now. I'm going to watch the 2010 World Series, Rangers-Giants. But Brian Wilson batted in the postseason with the bases loaded in the Game 6 for one-run lead. You see relief pitchers batting in the postseason and in the regular season. You can't have these automatic outs. You need the DH. You need that extra job. I mean, you can't have automatic outs. I think they should be replaced by professional hitters. That would add about 15 more jobs to guys who otherwise can't play in the field anymore. The National League needs the DH. College has it. High school has it. I think travel ball has it, for that matter. Every league in the world has it. You need to have the DH, and it should be a permanent part of baseball. Pitchers can hit every once in a while, sure. Maybe Madison Bumgarner can DH every once in a while. Or pitchers that can really hit, but for this point in time, just keep the DH permanent part of baseball. We don't need pitchers getting hurt batting, doing something they're really not supposed to be doing. It's like in hockey, if you ask the goalie to skate, or if you ask the position player to be goalie, you can't do that. You know, their hitting and pitching are completely different parts of the game where you have to be specialized and good at. Spring training 2.0, that begins in June. So June is only 3 weeks away at this point in time. And the season starting early July. So early July is about 7-8 weeks away. Okay, so you need players to get back into shape. Right now, okay, let's say the players, whatever they're doing, maybe they're bench pressing in their home gyms. Maybe some players are fortunate enough to have their own batting cages. They take hacks. Pitchers maybe throw a baseball. Some way or another, they do whatever they can. Right? So spring training 2.0. So then they maybe play inter-squad games in their stadium. So maybe it's Nationals against Nationals at Nationals Park or whatever. Yankees against Yankees. I don't know. Things like that. Scrimmages. Now, whether they play against each other in exhibition games, I don't know. But you need to get the players back into shape. You know, you can't just throw people out there after not doing anything for 3-4 months and expect them to be ready to go. So, just to get them into shape. Geographical schedules, which that can make things very interesting, come in the playoff format. So, geographical schedules, which teams only play divisional opponents and interleague opponents. So, for an example, maybe it's the East, they have the Northeast, right? Maybe you have the Nationals only playing, you know, going up to New York and knocking out the Mets and Yankees, and then obviously you play the Phillies a lot. Yankees play the Mets a lot. Maybe they Mets go up to Boston a lot, things like that, and come down to Baltimore, things like that. So really playing in your region where the Cubs may play the White Sox a lot, cross town, and then maybe they go to Minnesota, go to St. Louis, you know, kind of have the Midwestern teams, and Los Angeles. So no baseball in Los Angeles this year, it appears. So forget about it. LA's in lockdown. You can't just have people out and playing sports, right? So maybe the Dodgers play the Angels a lot. Maybe they just be down in Arizona. I don't know. What about the D-back schedule? Do you have to do doubleheaders there, or then the day the Dodgers play a game against whoever? I mean, how do you work that out, right? So that's another thing. So again, West against West. Giants play the A's a lot. Padres maybe play the Angels a lot. So on and so forth. Rockies play maybe the Mariners a lot. I don't know. So again, West Coast. Seattle seems like a dangerous place to play baseball. So just geographical schedules make sense, and so again, on top of an 82 game season, so for example, the Nationals, an 82 game season, maybe you play every other, or maybe you just do 81, you play everybody else, you play every team in the Northeast, in the AL East and NL East 9 times a year, and the Cubs play every team in the AL Central and NL Central 9 times a year. And then just go out west, the Angels play every team in the NL and AL West 9 times a year. So something like that, maybe do. And then maybe there's an extra game, I don't know. People talk about taxi squad, upwards of 50 players available. So 30-man roster, so again, those guys who otherwise would have been in AAA this year are playing in the majors. And then 50 players available. So again, what does this look like? So forget about the minor league season, that's over. How do you develop players? Like, how do players develop? I think they can. I think it will be very hard. I mean, do you throw them into major league games? I mean, what's the season going to look like? I mean, guys like Wander Franco, who might have been big league ready this year anyways. How is he going to play, right? Just an example of somebody. Or how is, you can go on and on with a list of minor leaguers, so high-end prospects, who are maybe major league ready, maybe not. Do they just get thrown into the major leagues this year? Does that happen? Since it's going to be a half season. So again, if this is an 82 game season and this starts in July, then you can finish it by early October, and you have an extra playoff round, okay. Best out of 3, so it might take a couple extra days. Maybe the divisional round starts a day later. You have things like that going on. So maybe the season ends, in early November, maybe mid-November at the latest. Who knows? That's just what it looks like right now, since the MLB is very close. They talked about trying to jam in as many games as possible. In fact, when the first proposals came out, they thought about even playing right around now. That is not happening. They're not playing in June. Forget about it. So again, this is what it appears to be like. So notable teams that missed the playoffs that otherwise could be in, this could be good for baseball. I think this will be really good in the future. Like, think about teams like the Angels who have come close. They would benefit from this. They would be in the playoffs more often. Maybe you have talented teams, good teams, talented teams. Maybe teams like the Mets are in the playoffs more often. Maybe you see the Phillies in more often. Maybe you have teams like maybe it's a breakthrough year for the White Sox this year. Maybe they can find a way. Maybe teams like, you can go on and on through the list. Maybe the Texas Rangers can get into the playoffs this year. I'm just talking about teams that missed the playoffs. Cincinnati Reds, they'd benefit. Maybe this year the Padres break through and make it to the playoffs. All these things. So now you're ready. Since again, 14 out of 30, that means the last teams in are mediocre teams, at league average teams, maybe slightly above league average teams. In the playoffs, so again, the playoffs can be more exciting this year in an 82 game season. So again, all these things are very interesting. Things I like. Look, nothing's normal. Players are going to lose money. Since again, think about all these things. Fans, they make up a big chunk. I mean, think about it. Maybe I don't do this as a fan, but there are plenty of people who might drink 2 beers at a baseball game. Well, imagine if 10,000 people decide to drink 2 beers. Think about how much revenue that is. Times 81. Right? And then all the concession money, all the merchandise you buy at the team store. I think fans will still buy gear, obviously, from MLBshop.com, so maybe there's that revenue. But just the fans going to the ballpark makes it, talk about the ticket revenue, for crying out loud. Like if the Yankees average 40,000 people per game, let's see the average ticket price, not to mention the secondary market, just coming from the team alone, buying from the team, that costs a lot of money. Think about how much revenue that is, times it by 81. Okay? That's for every team. Sure, the Yankees make a lot more money than what the Oakland A's make. That's a fact. We know that. Or what the Cincinnati Reds might make. We know that. The same thing with the Dodgers and comparing them to other teams. Those are facts. But again, all these things have had fans been going to baseball games for over 100 years. This year, forget about it. It's not going to happen. What is even going to happen this year? And again, how do you test players? Like, think about all the people you may need to make this happen. Like, do the Nationals Okay, like people running stadiums, right? And MLB did a test where I think something like 6,000 people, maybe one in, I don't know, something like 1 in 200 people had the virus. So again, what if somebody gets this virus? What are you going to do? Are you going to isolate them? Where are you going to put them? Right? All these things. Where did it come from? How does this happen? Right? That's where it started with the Utah Jazz. So again, can you do this? And test numbers. Think about the test numbers. I'm just going to apply to all sports. If you have to test, something about MLB, if you have 50 players, not to mention coaches. Some of the coaches are senior citizens. Not to mention everybody in the stadium to make these things happen, right? How do you have all these tests? Since the United States of America doesn't have enough tests. Think about a whole season. If this is a 100-day season and you're testing all these players, say all these coaches, so that's thousands of people per day. Times everything. Thousands of people per day. Again and again and again and again. How do you have hundreds of thousands of tests? Something I don't think the United States has. How do you do that? And this can apply to other sports too. How are you going to make this work? So again, I like the proposal. Half a season, fine, I get it. You don't want to. You want to try to stay on course as much as you can. So maybe the season ends in mid-November, fine. Home stadiums, maybe that's just where you want to play. Spread people out. Reduce the travel costs and the quarters of people. So again, the Nationals might get on the bus and go to New York, and then maybe go to Boston after that. Who knows how this is going to work? And then, so you have things like this. I think hitting will be up this year due to the universal DH. All these things. The playoffs, MLB playoffs will be more exciting this year since there'll be more opportunities. But again, you talk about testing all these things. How can you do this? Right? So it's okay. So now I've talked about baseball. If this is their proposal, anything they do, I'll be like, fine, okay, it's fine. It is what it is. Since again, there's not going to be 162 game season. There's not going to be fans in the stadium this year. We understand that. Garrett Cole, the $300 million he was promised, might not all be guaranteed. Might have to take a pay cut, along with many other players this year. Right? So all these things. So remember, we've been shut down for 2 months now, and we will probably have almost 2 more months of this. That's in terms of sports. So now I just want to jump over to the other leagues briefly and talk about this. And this applies the same thing. So the NBA. All the NBA stars, I think they're on some sort of conference call. I think it was Giannis, LeBron, NBA superstars. They all wanted to play. Right? Okay, that's great. They want to play. I get they want to play. That's their passion. That's their job. I get it. I mean, I'd want them to play, but again, is it safe? Where's the NBA going to go? Like, unlike Major League Baseball, where they're actually talking about things, the NBA has no idea what they're going to do yet. They don't know. At least we don't know. They probably know more than we do, but we don't know, at least publicly. Are you going to Florida and Vegas? How is the playoff format going to work? Are you going to play a full 2-month playoff journey, right? How's that going to work out? So the NBA seems optimistic, and that's great. It seems like all the leagues are trying to be optimistic right now. The National Hockey League, Gary Bettman, just a statement from Sportsnet, never even contemplating suspending the season. So Gary Bettman and the National Hockey League really wants to end their season right now, finish their season. So again, I heard 24-team playoff proposal. Okay, maybe that's fair, since again, in the AHL, maybe there's approximately 24 teams that have a shot to make it to the playoffs. Shouting distance or not, I don't know. So how is this going to work out in the National Hockey League? If everything was normal, the NHL would have been probably in the early stages, starting to get into the middle stages of the conference finals. Within a week, we know who would be in the Stanley Cup Finals. And the Stanley Cup Finals would have been 2 weeks away. I mean, Memorial Day, believe it or not, is less than 2 weeks away. That's when the Stanley Cup Finals starts. And, the NBA, they would have been in the middle of the second round of the playoffs right now. That's what would have happened if everything's normal. So again, National Hockey League, you have all these players. Where are they going to play? We don't know. They talk about 4 areas. I mean, that's great. So again, sure, the leagues want to play. I get it. I like to watch sports during the day or at night again. Have that again since I don't like. I like to have things provided. That would be great. I'd like to watch sports again at night. But again, if you saw kind of the evolution, maybe you see me evolve during this time. Like when I first heard about this, I was very disappointed. I thought, what is going on? I'm not used to this. This is not normal. Right? It took some time. Like, what is going on? I had no idea when things will return. So we might have a better idea now than say we did then. But we're still a long ways off. We still don't know if and when these leagues will return. And as of right now, it's not safe. Since again, you think about all these leagues, like the NBA, NHL, MLB. Think about all the broadcasters, all the coaches. Think about all the coaches that are 65 and older who maybe have potentially extra risks of being exposed, right? What about the people who work in the stadiums that are more at risk? What about all these people, right? Question is, how do you play? And when do you play? And where are you going to play? So at this point in time, it's going to be a big challenge. And we were talking about tests. I mean, this United States of America, I mean, who knows how many people actually have this virus? I think over 1 million people have it. 1.5 million, maybe more. I don't know. And 80-something thousand people have died. Could be more. So again, how is this going to work? Alright, we're locked down. Society's basically shut down yet. Sure, some states have eased things and said, okay, you can do this, whatever, that, whatever. I don't know. It feels like things don't feel that different than say they did 2 months ago. And I'm starting to become more understanding now. I'm starting to say, you know what? I would like them to play, but if they can't, it's not safe, then I get it, I understand. So you know what? Maybe it makes sense right now, since again, before you know it, it's going to be July. And if things just keep going on and on, later and later into this process, like especially NBA, NHL, they're running out of time, they might just say, you know what, let's just call it off. It's not safe. There's no way we can do it. Just call it off. It's over. MLB, they're not playing, then why should the MLB be playing? They have more people to deal with than the NBA. So the NBA, I don't know, 15-man rosters, that's still a lot of tests. So again, how can all these leagues have thousands of tests every day, which again then turns into hundreds of thousands of tests? And again, when we're talking about society, not having enough tests. So again, if this is going to be like this in the same state, say in a month or 2 from now, forget about it. Just call it off, cancel it. 2020 MLB season canceled. Rest of the NBA and NHL season canceled. That's just the way it has to be right now. Just call it off, cancel it now. If that continues, and you know what? It's just not safe. It's just not safe right now. If that remains the case, then that is the case. And if sports is called off for the rest of 2020, you know what? If you'd have asked me that 2 months ago, I'd be like, no way. Now, I understand. I understand. So, if everything's called off, or if things cancel, what I heard is the NBA and NHL could begin their season, say, in November, or perhaps December, later than normal, which maybe this starts to become a permanent thing. Maybe the NHL recovers back to October, maybe the NBA, no. The NBA, being the number 2 league in the United States, they might want to have their finals in the summertime before the NFL, and not have to keep competing against that and the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I don't know. So again, this year, in terms of sports, in terms of anything. I love to go back to broadcasting school in the fall in October. I'm really hoping it works out. About 14 weeks, so about 100 days. Children, probably not going to happen. Okay, that's probably not going to happen. So there's a lot of things that I wish could have happened right now. As I said earlier, I would love to be talking about the Caps Bruins, and the Caps currently have a 2-1 lead, or as the Caps and Bruins are currently getting ready for Game 3 of the Conference Finals in Washington, D.C. I'd love to be talking about that. I'd love to be talking about, oh man, I've really enjoyed watching Lakers Rockets. That has been so much fun. That has been a great series. I think the Rockets could potentially be that team that could go. Can't be talking about that right now. I'd like to be, but I can't. So you have all these factors, and just in the world of sports. So ask me right now, do I think, this is just my personal opinion, I'm going to ask myself right now, and this can be a question for you, do you think sports will come back? Do I think sports will come back? At this point, in the summertime, unless anything changes, and we can figure out a way to get tested, and we can test Americans, and these cases go down, and we can really control this virus, then no. If things are the same now, then no. So, percent chance, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do I feel of each sport resuming? We'll do rapid fire. NBA, I'm going to say 3. NHL, I'm going to say 4. The leagues may be otherwise, but that's just me personally. MLB, I'm going to say 5. And at this point in time, it's the way we are. I don't even know if I want them playing right now. It's maybe too much to risk. Just forget about it. Leagues lose money. Players lose money. It's unfortunate. That's just the way the economy's going right now. The stock market has crashed. So yeah, in terms of 2020 being a normal year, and anyways, whether a normal year in sports, like I talk about the sports calendar all the time, that's thrown out the window already. That's done. In terms of a summer that I thought I was going to have, that maybe I envisioned, say, 10 weeks ago in early March, forget about it, that's done too. So again, in terms of videos, I'm talking about this MLB proposal right now since it's a big deal. But in terms of the other leagues, you know what? I'm tired of playing guessing games, okay? That's what I've been doing the last 2 months. Alright, there's not too many stories to talk about, so you know what? If the news comes out that sports is canceled, my channel, I'm going to make less videos since there's no point anymore. So again, I'm okay either way. Would I like for sports to resume? Yes. But if it doesn't, I'll be okay with it. And I'll say, you know what, it's just not safe. It's just not safe for our society to play sports right now. And that would be understandable. And hopefully in 2021 we can get a fresh start in sports. But for now, we'll just see what happens. I have no idea. So many unknowns right now. And that's just the way it's been for the last 2 months. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So again, thank you anybody for watching. And we'll see you next time. When that will be, I don't know. If any stories break out, maybe I'll try to report them. But for now, there's going to be less videos now. So again, we'll see you next time. This is Burklow Sports.